nobody cared about watches. The highest watch that was on the market was 120,000 francs. It was a tourbillon.
No wonder the Meisterstück of Montblanc is the pen in this industry. No wonder. It's probably the only brand that is very consistent in their positioning and the way they are producing products and how they market their products, how they position themselves. It's the Visconti Homo sapiens, that's the one, with a beautiful orange ink in it, so it's my creative, maybe even leisure time writing instrument. It's the one I'm journaling the most, for example. And this is also a work that we are doing here at Style of Zug. We've, for example, taken the decision not to carry in our portfolio every single item of every brand, but to make a hand-curated portfolio selection from every brand to make sure we take, of course, all the high-end products of them, but not everyone else.
Good fellas, welcome to an episode of I don't know what, because it's not a collector talk, it's not a product presentation, it's not a factory tour, but we are here finally after 4 months that our new CEO of Style of Zug started, Manuel Venzi, for a talk with Manuel Venzi. Manuel, welcome for the first time on this channel.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure for me to be on this special channel for me, and yeah, I'm very excited and also curious where our conversation will lead us.
I think it's going to be a revealing conversation for many things. We spoke a bit about what we want to speak about. So it's going to be, we haven't gone in details, but roughly. But we're going to open up on a few things that we think, that you think, also as someone that joined the industry from the outside.
True.
And so I'm looking forward to that. So let's start with something strong that our viewers are gonna like, and then after we're gonna go a bit more into a business point of view, but also into a point of view of letting people understand where the industry is at and what you have found, what we think the potential is, what we think should be done better, and so on. Okay. I want to start with
my humble opinion about it.
Opinion of someone that works in it and puts a lot of effort into it. I think
definitely.
We're going to speak also about that, But we're going to start with one thing. Do you use pens?
Of course, I use them daily. I use more than one, and I have to admit I started to use them probably a bit more than a year ago. A bit more regularly, also in my daily work routines and habits. And I found the whole pleasure in it. I started to understand very well what all our collectors are talking about, all our customers are talking about. I started to really love it. I couldn't imagine to go back without handwriting so much as I'm doing today. And so to answer your question, yes, I'm using it. I'm using more than one pen because I started even to realize how beautiful it is to match the pen with the state of mind, with the kind of tasks or kind of meetings you're gonna have, to match them, even with the different inks colors I have in the different pens. So it's a whole emotional world I started to open up.
We're not completely crazy then,
no,
right?
or I'm going also completely crazy. One of the two.
That could be, that's correct. So that's amazing. And now to be more specific, which show us the pen that you use.
My daily three. I'm here with me. I have. So I started with the oldest one. The first one I bought here, of course, many years ago. It's the Visconti Homo sapiens. That's the one, with a beautiful orange ink in it. So it's my creative, maybe even leisure time writing instrument. It's the one I'm journaling the most, for example. Then the second one is probably the first one where I started to see pens as a luxury item, because you talked so much about it to me. It's the Design 08 from Otto Huth. It's a beautiful piece. It has a certain weight. It's made of beautiful materials. It has a very minimalistic. You say always Bauhaus,
Bauhaus.
design,
Very much.
which I like a lot. I like when functionality and design are merged together, and this piece has it all. That's why I even own 2 of them, but I'm using just one.
This is number
86, my year.
86 your year, and the other one you have on the
number
side.
10. Number 10. Yeah.
Number 10 ever made.
Yes, so it's a beautiful piece. That's my working item. That's for the important meetings. That's for the moments where I feel I need some extra self-confidence probably. And it is inked also with blue-green, but the most business-like ink.
You know which brand it is?
Which brand?
It's Graph?
It's
Deep sea green?
No, it's not deep sea green. It's no, I don't remember
The brand.
the brand.
Okay.
No. But it's an ocean. It's an ocean.
Is it from
Petrol. Green.
Petrol blue.
It's
yeah.
not from Otto Hood, no.
Okay.
And then the last one, it's again an Otto Hood design 07, where that I love a lot because I've chosen the silver edition because I love silver. I simply love how it evolves over time, the surface. I love it's not stainless steel, so I'm coming from an industry where we used a lot of stainless steel, which is a bit more grayish, and I like this white touch that silver has. So silver has become magical to me, I have to say, as a material.
The patina that
exactly,
gets on
exactly.
there.
So I'm sure, for example, once I can start calling myself a collector, I know I will have a collection of silver pens. I know
Amazing.
that because
I
I
love
love
that.
silver. I love the materials.
It's actually a very cool thing to have a collection of silver pens.
Yeah. So I am looking forward to the design. C is of course one of them.
Yardo Lad.
Yardo Lad is I went crazy with your video. I haven't been in Birmingham yet, but looking at your at the video at this small workshop.
I'm happy to know you watch my videos.
It happens, yes.
You get the notifications. Did you subscribe to the channel?
Of course.
And in case you didn't subscribe to the channel, subscribe to the channel. That wasn't planned, but it was great,
but
right?
It works. I'm probably one of the few that can say it's work watching them. So yeah, but those are the 3 I'm using every day.
A beautiful pens, Manuel. Well done. I mean, 3 icons, 3 must-have. And you have 1 Italian, which, lava stone and bronze. I think what really shows is the fact you like materials that age over time.
Definitely.
So from the bronze to the sterling silver, and the fact that you're a lover of the Design 08 in a moment where you were not that much into pens and you understood the product, for me, shows also that this product has still a huge potential to tap into many people in the world, right?
Definitely.
So
I love to use it also every day. It's a beautiful piece. It's very well made. I am astonished about Otto Hood, how well made they are.
Very cool. What's up? Okay.
I miss a Japanese one. I know. I miss a Japanese one. I know that my next one has to be a Japanese.
Sailor King of Fan. No discussion.
Most probably.
I'm not gonna let you buy
Most probably.
Because the Sailor King of Fan, what's amazing about it is the fact that you always have, it's so reliable, it's almost like owning a rollerball without owning a rollerball. It works always, you can carry it around, it stores ink so well in the feed, so that's truly amazing. But
it's no surprise, maybe that's the first spoiler, that we're gonna have all the colors of the King of Pen here at Style of Zug in a few weeks. So
we're going all in, so that's great. We're already going into the business part.
I have to pick one.
But before we get into where Style of Zug is headed, what we're trying to do, why is it that I'm always saying we're changing the game, we're changing the game, we're changing the game? There is a business purpose behind it, and maybe the cool thing is the fact that our viewers and our subscribers kind of are living this with us, right? This kind of evolution and where we're trying to be headed. And sometimes in business, when you are on a mission, it looks like the mission is a bit stuck, but it's not really stuck. It's just that there is a moment where there's a lot to be built in order that you can then leverage that. Why are you here? Why have you decided to join a company that is still relatively small? And what did we speak about before we started? what was your actual feeling and what happened when once you joined? Tell us a little story about that.
Well, to start answering your question, I decided to join because I fell in love with this mission and this dream you have that you call madness. And I fell in love with it. It goes hand in hand with a lot of values that I carry myself in my private life, in my personal life. So it felt like a natural next step in my life, and that's why I decided to join. Now, the feeling roller coaster was huge for me. I'm coming from a stable, old company, big company, with an important role there, and always been employed and in a safe, let's say, what can be safe, but in a safe environment
safe
today.
environments.
Exactly. But in something that felt like a safe environment.
It's
and
structured
this,
at
exactly,
least, right?
Exactly. And this was now my first step or my first career position in a much smaller environment. And this felt strange. That's one thing. The second thing is, as you say, you call it madness, and from the outside, you not always completely understand what you're talking about and what this is all about. And sometimes there is also the fear that it's a mission that will never become reality. It's a dream that will become reality, and that was probably the biggest fear I had when we started the conversation. While I had bought already some pens, but just very few, just two, to be honest.
And it doesn't mean you have to join the industry.
Exactly. I had started to write a bit, but I'm a very digital guy. I'm coming from the digital world. I'm in love with the digital world. I believe that it's super. Digitalization is helping us in a lot of fields. So this is somehow the counterintuitive. It is a counterintuitive thing to start speak and start thinking more about handwriting and the offline world, let's say. So I had to go through some thinking process. I had to deep dive to better understand. And I'm very numbers oriented. I'm very practical also. I'm very structured. So I need to get an overview before I have an opinion myself.
And maybe let's say that we started brainstorming at least a year before you actually joined the company.
Yeah,
so there
true.
has been quite a process into understanding, and also quite a commitment and interest from your side into really understanding, out of curiosity, maybe out of possibility that there is in this industry. But this was also what put me, maybe on a little note on the side, that was also, this 1 year period was also what put me at ease into bringing an important figure inside the company. The fact that we spoke, that you got interested into getting the big picture. Sorry, go on.
I am a very curious person in general, so
you are,
and I can fall in love with things that relate to me, and this world definitely related to me. So I was intrigued by it, and but I wanted to see some facts and figures to understand whether this dream was really happening. Whether there was a game, and if the game really was changing or not.
And what were the figures that triggered you most?
I have to see that the numbers you have on and also the engagement numbers that you have on your channels was probably the number that triggered me. To be honest, I was surprised about it. I was really surprised about it. And when I understood how many people are really already now in love with this product, are already in this bubble, I would say, or in this world, I started to understand, and especially more than how many are right now, how the growth rate was, organic growth rate was of this community. I started to understand that something really was already happening. It's not. It didn't need me to make it happen, but it was already happening, and I thought like, okay, yeah, I see what you're seeing. I think I believe this madness can become reality. So why not become concrete on what needs to be done to make it a reality.
Interesting. And then what happened? I mean, just keep on going with the journey, your thought process.
Well, the biggest question I always try to answer myself is what needed to be done to make it happen. What is really missing in this industry, and what is the missing piece? And I found out together with you also, I was convinced, you were already convinced about that, you were already working about it on it,
but
I believe.
You brought clarity into that. I do remember, for me it was also because we were trying to understand where do we need to tap in order to make this madness happen, right? Okay. And then you came up...
You seem to me always very comfortable about it, but maybe you were just answering my questions.
No, well, I think, man, I think maybe, again, as a side note, I think one of your things that you bring is kind of translating also what my thoughts and what my expertise and know-how and knowledge is within this industry and within the luxury industry and within this huge madness. So for me, you kind of translated what was the next step, what was the next thing to do, which is...
The way I translated it to you was the way I found it out for myself, and it became clear to me. But I started to realize and understand that the industry does somehow exist, despite the fact I had then the surprise to find out it didn't exist so much as I thought. But we might speak about it later. But I understood, and I could see also here in the boutique, that the product itself exists. There are producers out there, there are brands out there, there are artists out there, I would say, that produce beautiful pens, writing instruments. I love to call them pens, or fountain pens, rollerball, ballpoints.
So step number one,
the product exists. Exactly. There is huge craftsmanship behind it. There is expertise behind it. There is attention to detail behind it. There is a creative thinking process behind every single piece. The more even I'm deep diving into the single different brands, products itself, I always come back to you and say, okay, I don't get this brand. Then I start reading about it. I start experiencing the products itself, and then I come back and say, even to this morning, I came back to say, and I have to admit to myself that I was wrong, and start realizing they're well made. There is a thinking process behind. Everything makes sense. It is beautiful per se. It's maybe not my taste, but it's a beautiful
it has
writing
a reason
instrument.
of existence.
Yes, it has a reason for existing. It has a market probably.
It has a market, yeah.
And that's the second thing. Your numbers and the exchange you had in your community, the collectors you were talking to, the collector talks I could watch on YouTube, made me realize there are people out there that not only understand this kind of products, this kind of craftsmanship, the beauty behind these products, but also are willing to buy them and to own them and want to collect them and want to own them. So it became clearer and clearer to me that what actually was missing was the bridge between the products and potential customers, which is in business language the retail network probably, that not only that told the stories that needed to be told to understand the products, that created environments where you can fall in love with the products, where you can experience them, where you can understand them, where you can watch them, enjoy them, and where you can, of course, make them your own pieces. And I think this missing bridge between these beautiful products that are built every day, every year, towards collectors that are already collectors or that may don't know yet that they want to become or they will become collectors. This bridge is missing in this world, and we are a very little bridge in this ecosystem, and we want to become a highway bridge, hopefully.
Absolutely. That's what you're here for. So I remember when we defined that this was the next step, right? Building a retail network, building a customer experience. as a multi-brand store that is omni-channel in order for people to be able to experience and to purchase these beautiful products, because the products are already there.
Yeah.
Even if I think that there is still a lot of work to be done in the creative process, in creating products that are made without compromising. And there is a lot of investments that need to be done within the industry. I mean, there is so many elements that are still stuck. And yesterday we had a personality from the watch industry here at the store, and it was very special for me once again after many years to be with someone that has all these background stories. And when you talk to him, in the watch industry, there has been a moment where specific innovation have been made on purpose to kind of higher the level of what was made until now. And when he was showing us a product which was not a watch, but was related to watch presentations, he was saying, you see, even the screws have been made on purpose. And
for the product.
Exactly. Yeah. And watches, and I'm talking now about watches because I want to make the bridge to pens, have been really the product that kind of elevated the luxury industry and brought it to where it is right now. Because the attention and madness to detail that goes into watchmaking, that goes into creating a mechanism, is what makes this product something that is so cherished, so loved, so emotional for collectors all over the world. However, this personality that we had here, Ariola was here, and I told him, you have to tell me and tell Ariola, because I always say watches were not where they used to be. Is it actually like that? And he said, of course, a French guy, right? So of course, that nobody cared about watches. The highest watch that was on the market was 120,000 francs. It was a tourbillon, and there were only 4 people in the world that would buy such a tourbillon. So it was niche, it was small.
Sounds
it was
very
small.
like our words.
Exactly. So now, sorry for this monologue, right? But I love the interaction that we're about to have. It's incredible where the watch industry was, and that's exactly where we are at, right?
Yeah, it sounds very similar. It sounds exactly the same. And I agree with you what we were saying. We are lacking innovation here. We are lacking storytelling, definitely. Because what I love about this product is, as you were saying, even the screw were made for it. This level of craftsmanship exists already in the pen industry. We don't talk about it. We don't talk good enough about it. We don't talk enough about it. We don't have the platforms to talk about it. But when I visit production facilities, this is the level of attention they already have on some of the pens they produce.
I mean, before I went to Yardeled, that's not to criticize the brands because we understand the difficulties they have, but I didn't know how such a pen could emotion me for how it's made, right? And the attention and the
handmade.
Exactly.
It's impossible.
Century-old handmade art, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think actually at the end of the day, there's always room for improvement. There is fields like nibs, like piston filling mechanisms, where the engineering needs to be revised and we need more investment into it. However, we also have to say that there is a very good ground on which we can work, and it's always good when there is room for improvement in an industry. So we need to start from somewhere, but the communication and bringing this product to the customer, you made me realize once forever, and we it was then imprinted, okay, this is really what we need to do. And then it was like, but Manuel, we're already doing it.
Yes, exactly.
Right?
That's exactly what we're doing.
Yeah, we have a retail store. That's where we're at work.
Which is a good thing.
Which was a good thing, right? So good starting point for you, because the idea was you becoming the CEO of Style of Zug, and also actually, make it completely clear, also of the Pen Game Changer. So to become a bit the person who can help me structure this madness and these 1,000 things that need to be done. Because of course, while maybe you can tell a bit more, but from my side, my difficulty was that I was doing videos, I was communicating, I was with customers, I was explaining to customers, private customers, big customers, going to the manufacturing. And in the meantime, the whole operational side of the business was, of course, lacking.
Yeah.
So tell me a bit from your point of view, or tell us from your point of view, what was what was that you realized when you arrived about the work that was done, but the work that needed to be done in order to start going into the next level?
Well, I told you more than once. What I realized is that it was more or less a one-man show. You were everywhere. Probably everyone noticed that. You were the one in front of the camera, doing the communication, explaining the products. You were also backstage of the camera, cutting everything. You were the one closing the deals, selling. You were the one in the boutique, more or less. You had a bit help, but you were the one delivering the shipments that needed to be fulfilled, and so on and so forth. And given the fact that clonation is not yet so far, that's not a scalable business case.
True.
So I think that's my biggest job probably now in my first 4 months have been starting to structure whatever was here and even not here in a way that it can be scaled, it can grow without diluting the quality of the service level, let's say. And that's what we need to do from our side and what we are doing right now. So bringing in talents like Ariola, making sure they have a field where they can flourish, and making sure that whatever we are doing and is working well gets more exposure, and making sure this bridge is stable and can grow more and more and more. That's probably step number one.
That's already showing in the numbers that we are seeing right now.
Yes. So far, everything is going on very well. I'm very happy. Yes, I'm very happy despite all my fears I had in the beginning. And I think one of the key factors is that, I mean, there's plenty to do. One of the things I had to learn, and I have to face right now, and I'm even scared to say it a bit, but the industry we are talking about, this luxury industry of pens, doesn't really exist from my point of view today, if I have to be honest. I started to have a lot of interaction now with all the brands, and taking Montblanc aside, which is really living the dream, huh? They are doing exactly what we are speaking about.
A dream that could be three times bigger.
Yes, it's a luxury maison, like they call themselves. They do everything right, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. If you ask me, can they be better? Everyone can be better, but we're speaking about a few percentage. Mm-hmm. But no wonder the Meisterstück of Montblanc is the pen in this industry. No wonder. It's probably the only brand that is very consistent in their positioning and the way they are producing products and how they market their products, how they position themselves. What I found is that while I was saying the craftsmanship is unbelievable in this industry, the brands are not so consistent in themselves, huh? And it's, as you said, it's easy to criticize from the outside. I know perfectly how these dynamics work in the inside of such big companies, but there are many brands that make most of their money with, and used to do and still do today, despite the digitalization, do a lot percentage of their money with the low-end products, with a simple color pencils, for example. So it's more, to me at least, it was more astonishing to learn that they still have workshops inside their companies that do these amazing pieces, like Graf and Faber-Castell that does every single ballpoint that you would find in a hotel, probably they produce. At the same time, they are able to produce a pen of the year every year, with is full of incredible craftsmanship, and is comes with a beautiful design very often, a lot of design thinking behind it, or with a concept like the perfect pencil, which is amazing, with beautiful materials used, even as also there even a sterling silver edition, which I love a lot. And they came out with the Stellar project last year with also, I mean, a concept that is astonishing, that is made from a luxury brand, no doubts about that. But the brand itself is not consistent like to the end, and the same is for a lot of other brands. I couldn't believe the day I had the Black Radon from Pelikan in my hands for how well it's made. I'm still surprised if I look how much effort they put into creating a regular M1000 Sovereign green black, the way this finishing needs to be made to make sure that it's so perfect like you find it then in the end on the pen. It's unbelievable if you think that this is coming from a brand that does most of the revenue exactly on consumable goods, which is not this luxury end. And we need more companies that are like Montblanc, completely consistently
devoted
a
to
luxury,
that.
Devoted to that, that's the right word.
I think that truly is the biggest problem, but there is potentials of brands like Montegrappa, like Otto Hut, like Namiki, like Sailor. But it's interesting, yes, at the end of the day, and we're being very transparent here on the matter, because I think to grow and to get there, I think we live in a moment, historical moment, where this transparency also gets rewarded at some point. We're not in the 80s.
It's my humble opinion, as I said.
I don't honestly, man.
They might prove me wrong.
No, we're in a moment where I thought a few things, and I thought I was maybe a bit mad. But then you joined and you confirmed everything that we were already talking about. So probably we're not mad, and probably that's the direction. Brands probably have to decide at some point who they are.
Yes.
And once they decide who they are, they need to follow through that thing. Which also means, within brands like like Faber-Castell, where there is a whole section which is Graf and Faber-Castell,
Exactly.
It's a division that needs to be run in a certain way, because it needs to think luxury, and therefore it cannot think consumable. It needs to think luxury, and it needs to go 100% that way, and needs to be true to themselves. There is one thing that however, I found interesting, which is at Caran d'Ache, for example. Yes, they still have also the consumable 849 pen at 16 francs, which, it's something that me as a purist would not agree. If you do luxury pens, you should not be doing consumable pens. Huh? But again, luxury is a very small portion of the whole company. But when it comes to the coloring pencils, also with Faber-Castell, I mean, if we think about it, we're talking about a luxury coloring pencil. So in that field, even if they're doing coloring pencil and then they're doing the lacquered guillotched writing instruments, these two fields are both luxury fields. Because buying
they're both.
You're right. That's interesting. Okay, that's very interesting. But they do coloring pencils for like 5 francs, which is mad.
Yes.
Because a coloring pencil
it's not mad, it's sustainable, in my opinion.
It
makes total sense.
Yeah. Buy less but better.
Exactly. Also produced in Switzerland, produced from wood that is sustainably grown, and with associations behind it that make sure that we are not. So I mean, it makes sense. I always say, I told even Caran d'Ache themselves. For me, Caran d'Ache is one of the brands that is already a luxury brand. They just didn't realize it yet, but they will realize it. I'm pretty sure.
They're doing things like a luxury brand,
Of course, producing on a craftsmanship level, which is astonishing. Producing even every single refill themselves in Switzerland, which is amazing. And while I cannot say what they should do and every other brand should do, what I definitely realized and what I'm convinced about, and the thing we are convinced about, is that the two different segments of products cannot be sold the same way. If you enter luxury, if you do this level of craftsmanship like they do on Graf from Faber-Castell, for example, and also Caran d'Ache on the high-end or also Pelikan on the fine writing instruments, you need a different kind of positioning, you need a different kind of communication.
Of retail environment.
Exactly. And it's not only this, you have also to be sure that whatever you're buying there and you're experiencing there is also at that level, has no shortcuts in the way it has been produced. Every single detail has been paid attention to. And this is also a work that we are doing here at Style of Zug. We've, for example, taken the decision not to carry in our portfolio every single item of every brand, but to make a hand-curated portfolio selection from every brand to make sure we take, of course, all the high-end products of them, but not everyone else. So that every customer that experiences or buys a product from Style of Zug knows exactly that it's one of those products that carries all the values and the level of craftsmanship that they are searching and looking for.
Mm-hmm. What do you think is, I always ask, and at the end of the day, we always get the same answer, and I know I'm going to get a very similar answer, but what is the place of pens in today's world, also in terms of statement pieces? You know, people sometimes, when I'm a bit provocative, saying, oh, pens are the next big thing, pens can be as relevant, but in a different way as watches. What do you think about all of that? You know, the relevance of a pen nowadays in the digital age, also in terms of statement. What statement does it make? What have you experienced also from someone coming in the inside into an environment where people buy very, 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 very expensive pens, up to $70,000 pens, right? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree that the pen might be the new watches, let's say, and go through, and they are going, as you said before, through a journey that looks and feels very similar to what the watch industry has gone through. I don't believe that pens deliver the same values than watches do. While a watch, you wear a watch, you can show a watch in a room and people notice your watch and position you based on the watch you're wearing. The pen is a more personal thing, which is simply different. You can say it has a downside because you don't show your pen. Of course, in a business environment, for example, even at home, you might see my pens lying around or my journal because I've prepared it already to journal then in the evening. It might be that you have it in your hands while you're talking in a meeting, but it's not something that you show, but it's something that you use. And this creates that's what I experience now, coming from more taking notes on digitally, completely digitally, being completely paperless, moving back to handwriting. One of the things I noticed is I started to create nearly a personal relationship to my writing instruments. That's why this led me, for example, to want to own more than one pen, because they deliver a different feeling to me. So there are moments I want to have this kind of feeling or a different kind of feeling, and based on what I'm searching for, I want to use a different one. This is also why I said before I want to have a Japanese pen, because I experienced the writing is completely different to my German-Italian ones, and I want to have this feeling in my toolkit.
Do cool people will collect pens?
I think so. I think like every other luxury product, not everyone that loves luxury, that loves well-made products, buys all of them. But there are a lot of people that will fall in love with it. And for me, the right now is exactly the moment where this will happen, because we have a huge wave in digitalization, and every big trend, let's say, every big change always produces the counter movement. And spending so much time in front of digital devices makes us notice and realize how important it is to find time away, for example, from digital devices. And a pen, it's not only a symbol for that, but it's one of the most beautiful items you can use away from the digital world. That's one of the examples. So I mean, for me, one of the nicest things I'm experiencing when I journal is not only the beauty of writing down, having this thought process, and there are tons of things that I could talk about, but one of the things I appreciate most is that in that moment, I put away my digital stuff and I'm doing something, so I'm completely in the moment and I forget everything else. I'm completely detoxed, if you want, from the constant notification flow that you have in the digital world. And that's beautiful. And I'm sure that I'm not the only one experiencing this.
No, I mean, I love what you said, and you really said it in a way like it hasn't been said before, and we have seen it. I think also my provocative question is, it's something for cool people. We've seen the cool people joining pen collecting.
Yes,
the
we have
very
cool people
people
in the community.
Exactly.
We have cool people in the community.
We have very cool people in the community. We have very important entrepreneurs in the community. We have people who leverage a lot and therefore are highly skilled, who are very knowledgeable about all the very, hyped things, and definitely see pens as something that they want to have as part of their passion. And I think that, like you said, I think that is beautiful, right?
Yes. I also think... I also think that those are people that are used to focus on what they think. They bring value in whatever they do with their thinking process, with their point of view.
The trendsetter.
Exactly. And writing helps you being connected with what you are thinking and not always connected to other opinions, to other point of views. And I realize now every one of us is using ChatGPT more and more in our daily lives, in daily tasks. And it's so easy not even to start having an own opinion about things, but just ask ChatGPT and saying, that's good enough. That's also my opinion from now on. Writing forces you to connect with yourself, with your values, and understand, what am I thinking about this topic? And this has a beauty that is not comparable, and I cannot believe it decreases in value, but it will increase in value in a world where everything is done by machines.
Yeah, 100%. Where is Style of Zug headed? Where are we headed? In which ways are we changing the game? Let's be open and frank about that, and tell them what our plans are.
Huge plans. No, on a conceptual level, I said it before. We want to become the bridge between these beautiful writing instruments and pens that are built in the world, and bringing them to people that love this level of craftsmanship, that also share these values that we just spoke about, this connecting to the moment, having a connection to your thinking process, bringing handwriting back in your daily life, building this bridge. And we are doing it on different levels. First of all, creating experience places like the Style of Zug boutique here in Zug. And one of the things we are planning very concretely is to have more than just this single one experience place in the world. It's astonishing to see that we have customers everywhere in the world, and it would be beautiful to offer them this kind of environment also in their cities. Mm-hmm. And this is something we are working concretely on, and we want to make reality already next year.
And we chose that's
so that's I'm a bit scared to say it, but we have to say it because that's what we believe and what we are working to. So if it doesn't work out, it's going to be my fault. If it works out, I'm going to be proud of myself.
And I mean, it's something I think it's very important also to mention. It's obvious, but it's something that requires a huge amount of investment.
Yes.
And so this is the effort that we're putting into it. And I think it's important for our customers to know that we are working with people who want to make this happen, who are visionaries like we are in this sense, and that are going to put a lot of skin in the game in order for people to be able to experience this industry in the best possible way. Yes, there is a commercial purpose behind it, but I think the risk that we're taking right now is much bigger than the potential outcome right now.
I think we are not doing it for the purely economical side. We are really in love with this industry, with this product category, let's say, with these products, with handwriting, with the art that is connected to the building, but also to what you can create with a pen. And I think this is what drives us. I said it in the beginning, this was in the end what convinced me to join. And I think this is also an added value we bring, because we connect, we find other lovers in this world, and that's beautiful. It's beautiful to get in touch with workshops like Yardoled, where you find small workshops with with like-minded people that are completely in love with these products, that do it with love, that produce it with skill. And those are exactly the products we want to carry in our world, in our community. And I can already say that we're going to have we already found a next lover, a next artist that we're going to bring in our world very soon, in the next week. So stay tuned. Samuel will for sure speak about it and share these beautiful products. And I think it's wonderful to search for these artists, as much as it's wonderful to share this love with others and then find like-minded people that share our values and that fall in love with these products.
Absolutely agree. And honestly, I cannot wait to see where we're going to be headed, what we're doing. And for me, it's very important to have you on board because this whole thing can only happen if we have great minds working within the industry, minds that don't use excuses, minds that want to make things happen, and minds that don't compromise on quality and on the vision and the mission that we have. And I think in a few years, I think if we look back already at where we were and where we are right now, that's already pretty crazy. I mean, for me, sometimes I'm like, I could have never ever believed that we would be here and selling specific products, which is a result of the passion that we have initiated in a lot of people. But I think that this is not even the beginning. It's the beginning of the beginning. It's the little sparkle of a huge thing that is about to happen. And so happy to have you on board, and thank you for joining us at Style of Zug, Manuel, and for believing and for also risking your career, your life, to believe in something that might become. I think also the reason for me that all of this has a sense is the fact that I'm able to do it with people who are like-minded, who are risking it, and it's a privilege to have this journey also together and to empower this industry and make it happen.
It's my pleasure, and it's fun to work at this madness, and I'm really looking forward to the moment that will come already this year, that we bring back also some pieces to the community with special events, with loyalty programs where people can really see what we are seeing also behind behind the screens, let's say, behind the doors, see how these beautiful products are crafted, see the artists behind the products, and flourish or nourish this love for pens.
Amazing, Manuel. Thank you so much. It's surely not the last talk, so we will have to maybe start a series, talk with the CEO. But yeah, for maybe one of the first time you had a really in-depth opinion from someone working within the industry. So it's also kind of part of the game-changing thing, being transparent and showing you what is happening behind the scenes and giving you more clarity and more vision, because clarity and vision builds trust, and trust builds also trust towards investing into such items. So, Manuel, thank you so much. Good fellas, thank you to all of you for watching this episode here, and we hope you enjoyed it. Please let us know down in the comments what you think about the topics that we have talked about. Every time that you leave a comment, you are adding up so much to the value of this amazing community. People read what you are writing, and it really gives a lot of value. So thank you for that. Stay tuned for other very exciting stuff that is coming up, and as usual, don't forget that together
we are changing the game.